Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today, 4th of July. Whee! And actually, I'm not here. I'm recording this ahead of time. I'm letting you know that because I am coming back from a trip to Marysvale, and we're gonna have a great time there. And one of the things we're gonna do, besides have a Hawaiian theme night and a luau, we're going to have a 4th of July evening as well, celebration of America. And this is a big family reunion thing that we do. We've done this for the past couple of years. Last year, you folks saw that I had this Corvette, this red, white, and blue Corvette that I had painted, the Austin Powers from the Austin Powers movie. Well, I decided for a centerpiece, because we have to bring decorations and things for this dinner, this celebration that we're doing. I decided to make a centerpiece out of my flag car, but I didn't want just one flag car. So you saw in a previous video where I took a Mustang GT500 and I painted it in this beautiful candy red. Then I decided to go ahead and put a flag on it, paint a flag on it. Turned out pretty darn good. Well, I got a Ford and I got a Chevy. I better get a Chrysler, huh? So today we're going to look at the Chrysler installment of that with a 68 Charger, one of my favorite kits that I built specifically for this project. We're going to look at the project and keep in mind that we are building this from a 1970s perspective. So in the 70s, you really got creative and you really got custom with your cars, with your hot rod. And that's exactly the style I was going for with this particular build. So keep that in mind. And then we'll show you the centerpiece at the end, how the centerpiece turned out. So stick with Mad Dog Merv as we celebrate the 4th of July in style with my little hat and all. Check out this 68 Charger.
So to start out this project, we're going to use the Revell 1968 Dodge Charger RT kit, which is again one of my top 5 as far as favorite kits. The paint that before I used my paint, I started with the 2X primer from Rust-Oleum. And the primer went on nice and smooth. I did go over it with about a 3200 real quick just to make sure everything was smooth. Then I've got this Model Master. It's an acrylic and it's the 5N navy blue color that I use on some of my ships. And actually you'll be surprised at how this turned out. So I went ahead and sprayed it on. I don't like spraying acrylics, as you know, but went on pretty good, although I did have a couple of areas that got a little wet and you still see those drips. So I'm going to get out my polishing pad and I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I think I used from 2800 up to about 6000 just to kind of get the paint cleaned up and nice. So once I did that, I put a little bit of Future on the top here, went ahead and put my flag on it. I decided to do the Betsy Ross flag, kind of cut some chunks in it, make it look a little bit tattered. And that's the hope anyway. Now, we're going to use Stoplight Red from testers that I had for my red. This is what I've used on the other projects as well. And we're going to use some X13 as well. And for the base coat, it was just that Molotow chrome. So we're going to mask off first the area we want to do blue. You can see this custom mask that I made. You'll understand that in a few minutes. And I went ahead and painted the blue. Then after that dried, I went ahead and painted the Stoplight Red, which was going to take a little longer because it's a oil base, not an acrylic. And then I took some black and just very lightly went over the edge, kind of as a shadow, as if the paint was peeling back and it was revealing this underneath. And I think the black that I used was just some railroad color. It's an acrylic that I mixed up and just sprayed very low pressure, very fine point with the airbrush, just enough so that it would give me kind of a shadow once I went ahead and unmasked this. And again, the blue was an acrylic, and the red winds up being an enamel. Now these aren't as candy, they aren't as chrome looking as that Mustang that I did. Remember that Mustang? But I went ahead and used the same technique of masking off the red areas and blue area and sprayed. It was like Tester's Classic White that I have left. It's an enamel, and I went ahead and let that dry, and look how that turned out. Take off the mask and went ahead and put some silver around the edge, like the paint was peeling back. And here you are, underneath is the flag. For the stars, I went ahead and used those same stars from Archer Dry Transfer, except for I used smaller ones on this one. And I actually ran out on the other side, so I'm waiting for some to come in the mail, but it's not a deal breaker. Went ahead and put the Spirit of 76 on the door and the General Washington up on top. Okay, for the hood, we just used one of the extra flags that I had left over from that Country Charger kit, and I cut up the red and white stripes, painted the hood scoop blue, and put the stars, a little bit larger stars, on it. Didn't have enough to have them all over, so they're spread out just a little bit. But I think this is going to work. Again, this I want to look like a 1970s, deal. And here we are with the chrome Molotow pen. Went ahead and did the all of the trim. The hood is now on. I've got my mirror on, and I went ahead and went over that silver with the chrome, the liquid chrome Molotow, and went ahead and gave the flag part a gloss coat with Future. So after I got that Future on the red, white, and blue area, well, we're going to move to the engine. And they don't make a good manifold, in my opinion, for a high-rise manifold. I really didn't want to go with a blower on this, so I've decided to go ahead and take some Tamiya putty and build up some of the areas on the stock manifold and cut back some of the other areas to try to make this look very similar to an Edelbrock Torker type manifold, or a Holley, I guess they call it Strip Master, Street Master, whatever. And you can see, went ahead and put some putty on and used my knife to kind of make the little indents between the different runners. And not too bad, kept working on it till I felt comfortable with it. And then we just took some silver, some Tester's small bottle silver, went ahead and airbrushed it, but it's still not looking quite right. So I went ahead and hit it with a flat coat, a dull coat, which will make it look more like just good fresh aluminum. And well, here we go. I think this is going to work. Went ahead and put that on the motor with a resin carburetor, and voila, got the valve covers chromed up, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So for the interior, I think it was a polyscale dark earth that I had that was still viable. So went ahead and airbrushed the interior with that. Gave it a wash of Larry's bathwater to help the cracks and whatnot pop. Went ahead and used the liquid chrome from Molotow for all of the little chrome in here, and that's all painted by hand, just so you know, including all the area around the dash and around the console, all of that kind of stuff. And I think it turned out pretty good. I didn't do flocking on the carpet in this because, well, it's just not something I really thought that would be noticeable. So anyway, here's the interior. With that wash, I think it really helps it to look more realistic, if you will. So on the suspension, I'm going to make some air shocks. So I went ahead and, well, you see the modification I did here. Just used a fatter piece of extra sprue, extra runner, and used that. And there's my air shocks. And you can see the undercarriage some weathering I did. We used to paint this candy stripe on our drive lines, my buddies and I, way back in the early 80s, so thought we'd add that, this custom exhaust, and I like the way this is coming along. So moving along to the finished product now. This tail area, there's a lot of chrome in it. There's actually some white for the reverse lights. They're hard to see, but different angles on how this looks. I put an antenna on it, of course. That's one of my trademarks, and I put the door locks on as well. And you can see that high rise in there on the engine. Now I haven't wired it up yet. Eventually I'm sure that I will, but I haven't yet. But still, I think the engine compartment looks pretty good on it. And as you can see, I still need to add some stars because I ran out. But they are on order, and when I get them in, I'll get those on there. I just didn't have them in by the time we made this video. So, and here we go. You can see that shadowing effect on the peeled back paint, if you will, the peeled back metal, to reveal the flag underneath. And then I took a little bit of black and outlined the outside of that chrome area. Looks like the headers have just blown, the exhaust has just blown the paint right off, and I really like that effect. And you can kind of see my wavy hand effect here on the chrome, but the door locks, and yeah, I like how this is turning out. Give you a few more looks around the whole thing. So I went and bought some little 4th of July things from Hobby Lobby. Figure we're going to make a cute little display. I hate to use that word cute, but just kind of a neat little display for the 4th. So remember the Corvette from last year? We're going to incorporate that as the Chevy. We are going to use the Shelby that we just did a few months ago for the Ford representative. And then, of course, we have our Dodge Charger. And we're going to put these on a base, just styrofoam base, that I painted up kind of an earth color, used some sand from the backyard, and here we go. So maybe I'll add an AMC to it one of these days, but for now, we've got these big three, and we got these flag cars, and well, hope you all have a good 4th of July, and I think we're going to have a good one on this end. See you next week.